Hey guys, 4Paws here and welcome to Counterpick Irelia. Today we're going to take a look at 3 champions who are great potential counters to Irelia. But before we begin, if this is the first time you've ever watched a counterpick video on my channel, then please go check out the opening video of this series. In that episode, I'll talk over how to correctly utilise the information I'm giving you today, so again, if you haven't watched it before, please do yourself a favour. As always, if you don't fully know today's champion's skill set, then check the description for a link to their wiki page so that you can keep up with this video. So let's get into it. Irelia is almost a meme top laner where a vast majority of players view her as broken or overpowered. If she can cruise through the lane phase, she scales very well into the mid game, becoming a bruiser who will often assassinate carries in a 1 vs 1 scenario. With innate tenacity, great damage and mobility, it's no wonder many players decide on taking the fuck that option and simply opt to ban her out. In saying that though, when compared to other top lane champions, her lane phase is kinda weak, and she does fall off in the game if it reaches to the mega late stages. This is because she mainly scales with items, specifically Triforce, and levels in her hit and style ability. At level 9 she'll become a thorn in your team's side and a huge threat for your carries. Before we jump into the counters, let's break down some key information on Irelia's kit to help you win the lane phase. First of all, Irelia is an auto-attack damage based champion. However, what's interesting to note is a good amount of her auto-attack damage comes from her hit and style ability. So this in effect also makes her cooldown reliant, as whilst hit and style is on cooldown, you should be able to out-trade her. Hit and style has a 15-second cooldown at all ranks, and its duration is only 6 seconds, thus when it times out, you have roughly 9 seconds to abuse her. Secondly, always keep in mind that Irelia has a huge effective range to engage upon her opponent. Blade Surge resets its cooldown whenever it kills a target, so keep an eye on your dying minions so that she doesn't catch you off guard when she uses them as a gap closer. And finally, Equilibrium Strike is a cooldown that you must track when trading Irelia. Good Irelia players often max this ability against their worst matchups as the stun ramps up to a respectable 2-second duration. She can do a lot of damage in those 2 seconds, so try to hold off of kill attempts until this ability is on cooldown. So today's first counter pick is Renekton. Renekton has always been a solid go-to counter pick for dealing with Irelia. He trades through skill combos and is essentially an AD caster similar to that of Riven or Wukong. Utilise Renekton's kit by choosing to trade while your combos are ready and you have a good amount of fury built up. Irelia simply can't ignore this damage, and you'll slowly drain her consumables and put her under a big amount of pressure. During these combos, there's very little time for Irelia to land her hit and style auto attacks onto you, thus the trades are often very favourable for Renekton. Remember, early aggression is key, so get the most out of this matchup by playing as a lane bully. It is very important that you don't take upon trades whilst your abilities are on cooldown, or you simply have no fury. As I mentioned, Irelia is auto attack reliant, so she'll often be happy just to trade white auto attacks and slap away at your health. Also be careful of comboing Irelia if she stood within a big minion wave. During your combo, you'll pull the aggro of those minions, and as soon as your Ruthless Predator times out, Irelia will often stun you in return with her Equilibrium Strike. This leaves you open for a beating from the minions, and you'll simply take too much accidental damage. After the lane phase ends, Renekton's kit doesn't really offer that much to deal with Irelia. You should always look out for holding her down during teamfights so that you can peel her off your carries, but otherwise your main job is ensuring you punish her early game and slow her down to a mid game power spike. Next up is Malphite, who is a personal favourite of mine when dealing with Irelia. Malphite's kit is what I describe as a cock block that Irelia can't itemize against and shouldn't have fun dealing with. Although neither of you have huge kill potential on each other during the lane phase, Malphite can still punish and bully Irelia around. Not to the extent that Renekton can, but he can deny her any trade potential with his ground slam ability. This is one of the main reasons Malphite is so good against Irelia. He can reduce her attack speed by up to 50% throughout the whole game. As I mentioned, Irelia is very reliant on those auto attacks, so if you deny her some attack speed, it really hurts her damage output. There isn't much else to say in the lane phase, other than that it should be a farm lane unless she really messes up. Don't forget, Malphite does have a nice base damage on his abilities, and upon gaining his ultimate, he can punish Irelia if she overextends. The only thing that you need to really watch out for is to not trade her whilst your ground slam is on cooldown, or else she'll just land too much true damage on you through her auto attacks. Once the lane phase ends, the counter potential in this matchup doesn't stop, as Malphite can constantly peel Irelia from her targets. Remember that knockups are not affected by tenacity, so that if you land your unstoppable force on Irelia, you get the full CC value. Also, you have some great items that are viable to build as Malphite that will upset Irelia throughout the game. You can pick up a Frozen Heart, or a Randawind's Omen, or both, to cut down her attack speed and dampen her DPS. And the final counter pick for this episode is Darius. Adapt the exact same playstyle as Renekton, however expect to land a couple more killing blows if all goes smoothly. Darius has a horrible kit for Irelia to deal with, as it packs so much damage and punishes any champion who is auto-attack reliant. This is because when Darius auto-attacks, he applies his passive, Hemorrhage, which will burn down Irelia's health alongside his Crippling Strike reduces her auto-attack speed. Overall, Irelia can never swap auto-attacks with Darius, as he'll simply out-DPS her. This lane is probably the easiest to perform well in out of the 3 champions I've mentioned today, however keep in mind that Darius has no escapes. You really need to focus on not getting caught by the enemy jungler so that you can focus on bullying and shutting down Irelia. To achieve this, keep up vision and track the enemy team's positioning. Unfortunately, Darius is also in a similar place to Renekton in regards to not really countering Irelia out of the lane phase. In the ideal scenario, you are going to snowball off of her in the lane phase and greatly slow down her power spikes. However, if you fail to win the lane, you're most likely going to be punished. I personally don't value Darius too much as a top lane champion due to some of his inherent weaknesses in his kit. However, he's probably the best champion to dominate Irelia in the lane, so if you're comfortable with him, I'd definitely recommend to lock him in. So that concludes this first episode of Counterpick. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and since it is the first video of this series, please leave any constructive criticism that you may have. Also, feel free to post your favourite matchups for facing Irelia, and any tips or tricks that you have to beating her in the top lane. As always, don't forget to subscribe and leave a cheeky like if you haven't already. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in my next video.